Welcome back to Recorder on the Wall, where we're covering every Redwall product ever made. I'm your Papa Ebbett producer, Pete, and with me today is our normal crew. We have Katie.
Hello.
We have Drew.
I'm currently playing Among Us.
We have Matthias.
Hello.
Back from his field report, I'm sure. And we have Jeremy.
Ka-chunk.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Is he okay?
Ka-chunk.
I think somebody broke him.
It's not.
I'm sorry. I was talking with Jeremy about my Redwall, and he hit his head against the keyboard too hard.
Well, why would you do that?
Ka-chunk.
Yes,
Sad
exactly.
Chunk.
All right then.
Well?
There's an easy way to fix him, I'm sure. We just need to. I mean,
All right, I'm back.
Oh, I was gonna hit you with something.
No, I just bashed my head against the desk again. I rebooted myself.
You have to wait till Sable Queen until it actually happens in Redwall. Someone gets hit in the head. How do you fix him? Hit him in the head again. Yes.
So the Flintstone strategy. Got it.
Yes.
Percussive maintenance.
I like it. So we read the last section of Loamhedge, and I did not mistitle it this time in our common doc. I did so deliberately in our text change just for funsies.
Loamhedge?
Yeah.
Loamhedge.
Well, they are out on the lamb.
Yep.
So
Hedging our
we
bets
have
on that
And
one.
it's a bad situation.
Oh dear.
So we have very few new character introductions, minus yet another villain group. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. And obviously my opinion should be relatively obvious. We do have a new group of shrews. We'll talk about them. But
Shrews.
always good for more shrews.
Yep.
And we also have, we have vermin inside the abbey. Oh, jeez. Of course we do. And as previously mentioned, it was initiated by the worst group to ever actually get inside the walls.
Yep.
But they have a comeuppance here from the other group of vermin.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, Bad Red seems to be a better cook than he knew. Because our literal opening is Rugaball is like actually enjoying the food that Bad Red cooked.
Sun shines on a fox's butt some days.
What?
You know the saying "sun shines on a dog's." I'm trying to censor myself for PG-ness. I didn't want to say the other word for donkey.
Oh dear.
Moving on.
Otherwise, things can happen that you wouldn't expect. Moving on.
Moving
Hey,
on.
what's that over there?
So Bad Red is thankfully, he's not killed. He actually can cook pretty well. A grayling served with button mushrooms and dill.
I would eat that.
You know what, Bad Red? I think you found a new career for yourself. Whatever vermin crew you end up with, you can be the cook, and you'll be respected. No one kills the cook,
Unless it's really bad.
Yeah, unless you inadvertently poison your leader. Let's be honest, he's never going to lead a group again. Not at this rate.
No.
Bull is he's still enjoying the torturing this poor little fox, and he's like, clean this place up, and my buddy Bowfly, he's gonna whip you if you don't do it right.
Yep. Bull's gonna bull.
Clean this place up and I will whip you. Don't you mean or you will whip me? I know what I said.
So, the Red Wallers, however, are, they're still hanging on, but they're just like, oh, goody, there's more. And, Ragabull's totally think he can sweet talk the Red Wallers into just surrendering. That does not go very well for him.
No. After about 5 seconds of Toran telling him, get the heck out, Raga then just undignified, blah, 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 I can't speak today. In an undignified manner, just starts assaulting the door, being like, let me in, let me in, let me in.
Toran has a set on with almost breaking our PG rule. Toran has a set on him. Let me put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Because he
That was the
basically
Care Acorns.
he he glares at Ragabol and holds up a knife and a pepper bomb. It's like, which one do you want?
Yes.
Yep. And then Ragabol's like, Wurga, what's your idea? What ideas do you have? And she's like, if the sons of Wurga were here, yeah, I don't think that's happening. And
Hey, you know
come on,
something?
Wurga, didn't your super seer powers tell you they weren't around anymore?
Does she know? Does she
I
know
don't
her
think
sons are
so.
dead?
I think she mentioned something about it like later in the book. She's like, my price will be high because I've already lost 3 sons. And I think she's just assuming that they haven't come back, so they're probably dead.
Yeah,
That, or they're finally free from their horrible mother, and they're like, freedom!
well, she'll be joining them a little bit. But she does have a good idea where Raga just wants to burn the doors down, and she's like, how about this? Build the fire first as like a warning. And just to try, this way you don't burn down the doors to your brand new home.
Yeah, and Bowles also has to do damage to Redwall because he sees himself as Lord of Mossflower, and buddy, you are no Clooney. Come on.
Nope.
There's
I thought you were going to say Lord of Mossflower, you're no tree.
Haha.
I get it. But yeah, Clooney's in the afterlife. Oh, come on, buddy. So, but yeah, the Red Walrus are just like, haha, you're not gonna be able to do this. And to make sure you do this, they put all this debris and dirt right outside the door and reachable windows. And to their credit, yeah, dirt don't burn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's your science lesson for today, kids. Dirt don't burn.
I mean, sufficient enough fire would definitely damage any kind of dirt you put out there, sure.
Yeah.
But not before the Red
that's
Walrus
funny.
just dump more dirt and water.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if dirt did burn, then we'd be having a whole lot more trouble in California right now. Let me just say.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I would. I'm getting really tired of randomly looking at the weather and it's saying that the air is unsafe if you're sensitive to air problems.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, and then to Bad Red's crew's credit, we have Flinky who comes into the gatehouse and it's like, Mr. Whatever your name is, Ragable needs you right now. Oh, well, clean this place up or I'm going to beat you later.
Flinky's like, all right, cheese it.
Yeah, and cheese it they do.
Yeah. And it takes Bad Red like a minute to be like, maybe I should run away with them.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, at
just
first he's like so scared, and then Flinky's like, "Why did we ever let you lead?" And I'm like, "That's an excellent question." He
yeah.
was heavily outnumbered the entire time. Why did you let him lead?
Remember, this would be their one best chance to get rid of him for good. They could just tie him up and leave him as an offering for Agabol, but they're not going to.
Yep. Hashtag vote
Raga,
Flinky
love
for
Vermin
gang
Crew.
leader.
Yeah.
And so Bad Red finally just runs off, and Raga's not having a fun day right now because first his show of power is shot down, then he loses the Vermin Gang, and then figures out that his fire plan won't work.
These Red Rollers are not stupid.
Nope.
They've been through this before. And terrible record keeping aside, I would hope someone in Abbey schooling is taught, hey, this is basic defense. God forbid we ever have to use it.
And I mean, his day started out so well. He didn't even have any nightmares. It's like no dreams from Martin, no dreams from Lana. Although I assume Lana's Seer Plus ran out. It was time for him to call Moster card.
Well,
Nice.
yeah, Lana's seer powers aren't even brought up ever again.
It's like gone
But
for the rest of the book.
Doesn't Raga have at least like one more nightmare about him?
Well, sure, but that could just be his regular mind for all we know.
I don't know. Lana was pretty insistent in the previous ones.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but explicitly his seer powers aren't brought up.
This is true. And I have a feeling Martin's not visiting Raga because he's like, don't worry, Lana, you got this.
Well, as we already pointed out, Martin's kind of running his long distance account's probably been suspended by Rose because he collected call the last time.
You get your phone privileges back when I tell you.
You can only call when it's an actual emergency, and you have to run it by me first. Yes,
They're
ma'am.
invading the Abbey, honey.
Yeah. She's like, Martin's like, fine, I'll use Gomp's phone. It's like, oh, I've already let Columbine know. She's not letting you in the door.
What about Matthias? Or Matameo?
Don't worry. And like, no, Matameo's unnamed wife that he obviously had won't let you in either.
Well, she was named.
Yeah, she was named.
Oh, right, it was Tess. Holy crap, I forgot.
Tess proceeds to beat you on the head.
I totally forgot. I'm sorry, I'm so used to these characters having unnamed or unspoken mothers, so or
Yes.
parents.
The single named parents with the unnamed parents, like Mr. Squirrel.
or children like Mouse Babe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when the vermin have more names, even if they're bad, than some of the heroes, huh? Yeah, needs to get on that on the hero side.
Yeah. Oh. And the
But
vermin
moving back,
leaders usually have these cool nicknames too. So
Yeah.
moving back to it, yeah, it's Raga's like, fine, we'll just attack it dark, huh?
Yeah.
And Werger's like, what about my sons? I don't know.
It's like I care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of care about my sons.
You're the
I
only
don't.
one. Maybe unnamed father should go look for him. I bet he's dead too.
So back with the traveling heroes.
Oh, well, one last thing. They do
Oh.
find a water source in the basement.
They do. It's a well.
Yep. So was this like the water source that they set up in Matameo, or is this some random well they found in the basement?
I was about to say, I think we've seen this before.
Or is this Cotier?
I do not know.
One of the above.
Maybe it leads to the underground stream that was in Cotier.
But I thought that dried up though.
Yeah, they cut it off.
Yeah, and it was in like a different section of the Abbey, I think.
Where's the continuity, Brian Jakes?
I did love though Sister Sativa telling Muggum that the Dibbins will need to take baths, but they can then throw the soapy water at the sea rats.
Yes. I love sisters. She's not like the stern sisters we've been seeing for the past couple books. She just has a sense of humor though.
Oh yeah, she gets like a good one-liner in every single chapter at this point.
Yes.
Every time she appears on page, she says something that's hilarious or awesome in some way, shape, or form, and I love
Yes.
it.
Yeah. So that's going to be some pretty disgusting water if you're throwing kids' bath water at vermin.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a better bath than most of those vermin have probably ever gotten in their
Oh,
lives.
no doubt.
This is true.
No doubt of that. Yeah. And moving back to our field heroes. Oh yeah. They're still out there in the field looking for Loamhedge.
And so Horty and Bragoon are like, well, everyone left. All right, let's go find them. Hey, look, an adder.
Oh, don't
Snakes.
worry about the birds will take care of him.
This
And-
is random.
Yeah, and then a buzzard flies in and kills the adder and flies off with it, and everybody's okay now.
Like,
can
what
check.
was the point of that? I don't
Oh,
understand.
that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
every book, there's got to be some kind of lizard and then a bird.
Yeah.
But there
And
already
then,
was lizards and birds.
And then Horty, poor Horty gets the living heck kicked out of him in this entire section of the book, because they go back to like the stream and everything, and Horty's like, "Don't worry, I know this area." He walks into a branch and knocks himself out.
We're getting Martin
Yeah.
levels of brain damage here.
Oh my god! It's like to Pete. This is like in Star Trek V, where Scotty's like, "I know this ship like the back of me hand." He walks right into a bulkhead and falls over.
Poor Horty.
Oh,
I feel bad for him.
poor dumb Horty. And they put a bunch of gunk on his head, and it looks like he has a goofy turban or something.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
chapter art of it even.
Yeah.
And Horty at one point basically just loses it and goes into this dirge song of how badly he's treated.
Which I thought was kind of funny. Like, obviously he's having a terrible day and I kind of feel bad for him, but then he just goes into this dramatic teenage, like, everybody hates me and my life is the worst.
So he's a teenager. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And then I can't remember, I wrote this down, but I should have written what page it was on or where it happened. Somebody says, "Sucks to be you," which I never thought I'd see that line in a Redwall book.
I think it was actually sucks to you.
Oh.
Oh, there goes my Avenue Q reference.
It
least-
sucks to be me.
That's what it was in the audiobook, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they do cheer him up. Like, look, this isn't so bad. I mean, we watched a snake get eaten today. Wasn't that kind of cool?
And there's a pretty cool moment where Dragoon uses the sword of Martin to help prepare dinner. And as he's using it to cut stuff up, all I could think of was, order within the next 15 minutes, and we'll throw in a Martin the Warrior kitchen knife set absolutely free. That's a saving of over Dream 99.
It slices, it dices.
It pays off long distance bills.
I'm somebody cleaned it first. That's all I gotta say.
Oh yeah. Ugh, ew.
that's
Just
always
thought-
where my mind goes.
Oh, and apparently they stop at a pine grove with not painted ones. They're painted reptiles, apparently.
No.
Yes.
Did I read that right?
They ate the painted ones, I guess.
Yeah, are painted. We don't know if it's the same pine grove or not.
Yeah.
That, Madameo and his crew went through, and then the Fellowship of the Angry Parents, but there's no painted ones to be found. There's just reptiles that
Yep.
like to throw reeds that are sharp and pointy.
Eep.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be a complicated method to get past them, with Sarah going out of her way trying to find some way to get past them. And oh look, she found some shrews.
Yeah, we have another Ghalsim's cadet branch, or splinter branch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Guerrilla Union of Raft.
Roving and fighting shrews, I think.
Yeah. And I like them. I do
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah, these shrews like creating their cadet branches with their
like
own logs.
They like fighting around the world.
Yep.
How do you even pronounce their clan title? Gyoraf?
Guraf. In the
Guraf?
audiobook. Yep, Gurafs.
Doing a good job.
You're there.
George Foreman?
Old Homestar Runner reference, but yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking of South Park. They took our jobs.
Yeah, but mine's rated for kids, so.
Yeah, Georgie Forge.
And
Georgie Forgy.
And their Logalog is named. It's not a
Briggy.
male- Yep, it's a male Logalog. Of course.
Again.
Yeah. And yeah, he's like, hey, I'm Logalog Friggy. You pick that name? No.
I changed it.
And he has a son, Juger, and there was another one, Drench.
Drinchy, I believe.
Drinchy. Yep.
Yes.
Let's give him some dignity and call him Drench.
Drinchy. No, that's his name is Drinchy. There's also Waddle.
Waddle.
Yes.
Waddle. It's Waddle and Waddle because it's spelled both ways at one point.
Is
Nice.
it?
It is, yeah. There's one line where it had an A and one line where it had a U.
Okay.
Oh dear. Editor
Yep.
missed it out.
Yep. And but then somebody calls him Cuddles later on.
That would be Horty. I laugh.
Oh my god.
What's his
Yeah,
name?
Horty
Cuddles.
could introduce the bizarre hair tradition of not using people's names as given.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
I
So
look forward to the book where someone finally calls out a hair on that. No, my name is so and so.
wasn't there which Redwall book was it where I think it was Mossflower where where the villain trio heading after Martin's crew, two of them call like the leader of the group like some wacky nickname and he gets pissed and chases them down.
Yes, I don't remember what it was.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Frog
Yeah.
something.
Frog Walloper or something.
Yeah, I think that actually I do think that was it. Yep.
Okay.
And then Bellmaker with Glugabag.
Yes.
Forgot about that. Meanwhile, back at Redwall, Martha McAllister is spreading broken glass on the lawn.
Home Alone version Redwall.
Yeah, what the heck? Because all of a sudden you hear all those sea rats screaming in pain. They're like, "What was that?" "Oh, we threw glass on the ground so we would know they were coming."
I love how deadpan she is about it too, because the abbot's like, "Well, how will we know that they're coming?" And then they scream, and Martha's like, "Yep, that'll be them now."
Jesus.
What's next? So they can just swing paint cans down?
Yeah. Do you sea rats give up, or are you thirsty for more? Oh my
Now,
God.
I appreciate that as you two, you grew up in the 80s, you grew up with Home Alone. I'm more of the mindset of my headcanon being Redwall secretly trains ninjas because they're using pepper bombs and glass shard caltrops. They're ninjas.
So is that a Ninja Turtles reference, Three Ninjas, or something else? Or are we just, or Jeremy and I just still rocking the born in '84?
Yes.
All of the above. Oh my gosh. And yeah, so then the vermin start trying to climb up, and well, see you next fall.
Yes.
You
Water.
throw 'em down. They'll use the time-honored tradition from Mariel of Redwall of wait till they get closer. All right, now kick them down.
Yep.
Oh, come on, guys. We're just trying to invade.
We don't want to hurt you much.
Okay, we're going to hurt you a lot. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
And the vermin get all angry. It's just like, "Ah, why can't we get up this? They're pouring water. That's not fair." Ah."
Yeah. What's dumber than being beaten by porridge? Just some water and slippery mud.
Yeah.
Bathwater, little mouse.
Bath water.
Yeah. What would their mutters think about that?
Ding.
So we also have, and this is going to be controversial. I know. And...
I was going to say, nothing else of consequence happens in this chapter. We can
Oh,
move
no,
on,
Martha
right?
walks.
Nothing
Martha walks.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cue the miraculous cure and Katie's rant cannon firing in 3, 2, 1.
Oh my god.
Katie, do you want to save it?
I don't know. I'm just tired of the only happy ending being that the disability goes away. Like, that's very damaging. And I already talked about this at length, but like, you're just not trying hard enough. It's all in your mind. Like, later when we get the Loamhedge cure, like, the body is ruled by the mind. It's positive thinking. You're not thinking positive enough. It's like, yes, okay. I'm going to fix my blindness by thinking positive thoughts. Ready, go. It's not working.
Nope.
Help me, Peter Pan.
Yeah. Martha pulls off, does two things. She manages to walk, and she commits her first act of murder by punching a sea rat out a window.
Woo!
Yes. And I guess
So-
we could say that Martin helps because he says, "Save your abbot," because the rat's going after the abbot, and she's like, "Oh no!" And then she can't scream because her voice is like, she's paralyzed with shock. Like, "Oh, what do I do?" And then Martin's like, "Save your abbot," and she's like, "Oh, okay." And she gets
That
up.
was definitely the collect call trick.
Yep.
Served your armor.
It's like, Rose, it's still within Redwall. Roaming charges, Martin.
Yeah, Martin did it is about the best explanation for Martha's cure without getting into any deep debate. Yeah, it's problematic.
I did want
but
to
it's-
talk about it towards the end here, but it is entirely problematic, as
Yeah.
Katie's already mentioned.
But just to
Yep.
very simply say, I'm just going to play devil's advocate and say this is a children's book, probably meant to give sick kids in the hospital some hope that they can get better. And who are we to deprive a sick child of the hope of getting better?
But there's a difference between being sick and being perfectly fine but in a wheelchair. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there's a difference between like a terminal illness and being in a wheelchair.
I absolutely get it. I'm not saying that it's a good explanation. I'm saying
Oh,
that's
no.
the best I have.
Yep.
Moving back on, right? Next chapter 32 is Ragabol, and I'm presuming that's his art. It's not him in the artwork.
No, that's
But,
Blowfly.
Mhm. And let's actually just go ahead and straight up address it.
How anthropomorphic are they?
Yeah, how anthropomorphic are they in this section? Pretty anthro. Although several of the chapter arts kind of just invoke enough feral to be interesting, but Brian is not. He doesn't deliberately be coy about it at any point. Chapter 32 art is Blowfly? Sorry.
Yeah.
Blowfly or Bowfly?
Blowfly.
Blowfly.
Okay.
He is very bent over, almost animalistic, but he's still dressed.
Well, he's also tracking on the ground too, so that's
Yeah.
why he's leaned over.
He's carrying a torch and a whip.
Yep.
So he's Simon Belmont? No? Thank
Thank
you, Jeremy.
And
So,
he
our
is tracking the idiot patrol.
Speaking of, they're finally away, and it's like, guys, what do we do now? Let's just leave. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's just leave.
Flinky's like, let's go someplace where we don't have to fight anyone and can just eat food and live in peace and not be murdered.
And
So
Half
I
Chop.
heard about this mountain place just a little to the west of us. No.
Half Chop grins, looking at Flinky, his new hero, and just says, "Ka-chunk."
And you know what? That's exactly what they do. They pull an ash leg and they leave.
Yep.
And he never see them in the book again.
Yep. And they were about to rest, but then they find Jibsnout's maggot-infested corpse and then hightail it out of there.
Yeah.
And Blowfly and Glimbo are trying to find them, and oh hey, Lana's back.
Oh, hi, Badger.
Yeah, who uses his bowstring as a garrote wire.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like,
And-
I love how Blowfly is just like, "You're dead!" Like indignantly, like, "Hey!"
And, you know, if I were Brian writing this, I would, after the "you're dead," I would have been like, "Boo." That's the next line.
Don't worry, I'll kill you last.
And
Well, I like my thing was he asked Blowfly or Glimbo to lead him back to Redwall. Which one was it?
Blowfly is first. He just basically says, "Hey, you want to give me that intel? Okay, you're gonna let me. You let me go. Well, I won't kill you slowly. That's all as good as I'm gonna get. Yep. Okay, thanks for your intel.
Yep.
I don't know. I think that's a little more than morally gray.
Yeah. Well, with Glimbo, he's like, "You will lead me back to Redwall," and Glimbo's like, "Sure." Then Glimbo hightails it out of there, and he goes, "Never mind, I'll find my own way," and then begs him with an arrow, and it's just like, "All right, yippee-ki-yay, Badger Mother."
Lana makes action movie stars wish they could be that awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Eat your heart out, Stallone.
They want a war? I'll give them a war.
I don't know. Did he ever actually see Blowfly do anything?
Yes, it does
Right.
say in the book that his face was one of the ones he remembered.
Ah, so yeah, personal reason for that.
I mean,
Yep.
this is a Kill Bill. You can hear the intense music and the screen go red.
Oh,
You know,
I
he's
was
got
thinking
it
more
on
like
his desk.
Taken. I was thinking more like
Two.
Taken, where he's like, "I told you I'd find you."
But yeah,
'Cause
he
You
it was
don't remember me,
hardcore
do you?
attack.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know about Glimbo though. I don't know if he had any personal grudge against Glimbo besides the fact that he had vowed to kill all of them. But
Yeah.
with Blowfly specifically, I remember he saying, "You begged for a chance to torture," or something like that. I don't know if I'm getting my stories mixed up, but something like that.
Yep. And Lana does not take any. Oh yeah, it was.
before he kills Glimbo with an arrow for running away, he's like, "So you never did anything. You were never near me and my Badger buddy getting murdered. So you're innocent of everything." How many times has that excuse been made? Think of every bully, cheat, plunderer, murderer who was before you has lied with those same words. And I can imagine Kimball's like, oh, yeah, I mean, I'm a bad guy. What do you want? I guess I get to be a bad guy, too.
I'm a bad guy. I
I approve of your reference.
I mean, at least with some of the morally gray villains we've come across, it's like, yeah, you're a bad guy, but that doesn't make you bad guy.
guy.
And as was previously brought up, Lana is definitely in the gray territory here. He's technically a hero species and full of blood wrath, but yeah, he's straight up murdering people.
He definitely is. I was just thinking also Flinky might be a little gray too, but because as you guys were saying, why wouldn't he just kill Bad Red? I think in some respects he's just like, yeah, you can get away with us too. Like I know that you were bullying us, but I still in some degree care about you. Because why else would he have told him, hey, we're leaving?
Yeah.
Because rather to save the guy that bullied you than to leave him to the guy that will definitely murder him.
Well, I mean, it could be just, hey, it could be just kind of a clan tribalism. Like, this other vermin clan is picking on us. We're going to get our whole clan out of here. That, or it's because Bad Red paid for extensive version on the Russian cover of the book. I'm on the Redwall wiki right now, and Bad Red is front and center.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, I'm serious. He's
Patrick
like the
got
biggest
top
character.
billing.
He's the biggest character on the front cover with Lana in the background.
Nice.
Okay, then.
Oh my gosh, my dog can't even be quiet in her sleep. I don't know if you guys can hear, but she's having a dog dream.
Aww.
Growling to
Dog
herself.
dream.
You're fine. Yeah, hello. Yes. go
Chapter
back to sleep.
33 begins with a rather humorous take on Horty's head wound.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and we get a pretty cool moment with Jigger, the son of Logalug Briggy, where he shows up to help, catches one of the lances, and then immediately throws it back and takes someone out with it.
Yep.
All right then.
And then Horty kind of messes up his battle plans.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we have this specific plan. We're going to do this, this, and this. This is like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 where it's like, we have to do this stuff in this specific order, and make sure you go after that one thing last. All right, we'll just make it up as we go along.
Yep.
And Horty's like, hey, everyone, how's it going? And he takes like 3 lances in his like head wound thing.
Yep.
Oh my god.
What the heck?
Yep.
I just sent for the readers or listeners. I just sent the group a copy of the Russian cover. So,
What the heck?
Um,
He looks insane.
I kind
His
of want
tongue,
him
he's like,
to be the
hey,
protagonist.
guys.
Describe it, that look in like 5 words or less. Too much caffeine, possibly drugs. That's the only way I can describe it.
I
Yeah.
was about to say, that looks like
Intense.
me after I've been staring at a screen for like 6 hours.
Oh god, oh, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
so that's what his special spice was on the Greyling.
He took too much salamander strain and
All right.
He tried that, what's it called? Synthetic salamander strain.
Oh,
That's
the
where it got
K2?
him.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the library I work at has a Russian subsection in it, and I've seen way too many Russian book covers that have art that looks a lot like that. I don't know what it is about Russian culture, but their artwork for book covers is strange.
Yeah. Lana looks pretty cool.
Yeah, but you can't see at that level of detail you can see on the Redwall Wiki itself. Behind him, the Abbey, you see a couple of other creatures, and the Abbey itself looks a little odd. Like you have the actual walls with red roofing, and then the main Abbey, which has red roofing, but there's a castle tower in white stone.
It just kind of looks like your general like medieval fantasy town.
Yep.
Like something from the cover of a Disney film. Like Beauty and the Beast, something you expect to see there. Like European, definitely, but the wrong area of Europe for the book's setting.
It's
Just off.
it's Russian cover. It look good, yeah.
Why do you think it's a red wall?
Wah.
So moving back to the group, can you dig that, please?
Just ground everything to a halt.
Well, Jeremy, you take it from here then.
Okay, so all the lizards and frogs and lions and tigers and bears, oh my, bow down to Horty because they think he's some sort of like king or something. I have no clue. And so they then leave, and the shrews are like, well, we got to bash something. Let's go bash them. And they just run after them and start beating them and drowning them in the river. So,
Hey guys, we surrendered. What is this?
white flags are no match for our clubs.
Man, all the are we sure there hasn't been a polarity switch of morality in this book?
For what it's worth, I think the reason they were just so in awe of Horty is because he's been knocked unconscious. He's got this turban-like dressing on his head because he has a giant goose egg just sitting right on top. And so he wakes up and is like, oh, what's going on? And he just walks right out, gets 3 spears stuck in his turban, and they're just like, and they're like, okay, I guess we can't kill this guy. Better
King
bow
in the
down to
South.
him instead.
King in the South. King in the South.
Oh, I was gonna say it's more like he's got a turban. They think he's like a king or something. Saying like instead of Prince Ali from Aladdin, Prince Horty.
Oh no.
No.
I approve.
No.
Yes.
Prince Horty.
How is he?
He's got a head wound.
Drop it before my drop it before my lawyers drop a bomb on you. Ow, that hurts.
Going back to the opposite direction, though, we do see that picture of Horty in the chapter art with the 3 spears coming out of his turban. All I could think of was, I wish it was Scarum instead of Horty, minus the turban.
You guys are
And those-
never gonna give up on that.
And about 6 inches lower.
Just for the record, I wasn't the one to bring it up.
No, you were not. I will take note of that.
Thank you.
It doesn't mean that Jeremy can't enjoy my very dark humor at Scarum's expense.
I don't disagree with you though.
Yes.
Okay, so after they finish picking on the reptiles for no good reason, they finally make it to the Bell and Badger head. The Bell and Badger rocks from all the way back in Matameo. Hey, I know those.
Yes,
And-
did we skip
Oh,
the
and
part
the-
about the
oh.
flirtation between
Oh yeah.
the
So well, we've also got I like the comments about Horty. It's like it takes a brave beast to do that, and then Bragoon's like, or a raven idiot.
yeah.
Yes.
They're both not wrong.
Oh,
And then
and-
the 2 shrews sing this song about how ladies are the gentlest, most dainty creatures, and whoever makes fun of ladies is getting punched in the face. And I'm just like, no.
I do like how they spell ladies with Laydeez.
Yeah.
I do like that. I think that's cute.
It's a very odd song, given that Gosum Shrews, and yes, I know they're not officially Gosum, their women fight right alongside the men in practically every book.
I don't know if they were doing this in like a humorous, like parodied sort of way, but at the same time, it's like, I don't like it.
I thought it was cute.
Oh, and we did skip over. There is a Tubgut-like character, Drinchy, and gets into a boasting contest with Horty, and it's kind of the best thing in this chapter.
Yes, Horty wins. Horty wins very much.
And I also like, as you know, Log Briggy won't be joining them to go to the ruins of Loamhedge, and I'm like, I wonder if he heard what happened to the last log that went there.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then I have to say it. I feel like Bragoon and Saro near the end of the chapter, like, yeah, after this, we're gonna take it easy at Redwall. And I was just like, did Bragoon and Saro just comment how they're 1 week away from retirement?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, we finally have an answer, by the way, to a question left open at the end of Metameo.
Mhm.
That how did they get back when the bridge across the gorge was gone? And because these shrews outright spelled out, well, we'll just drop you off on the other side of the gorge, using our secret, apparently, streams that go around it, and we'll pick you up in 6 days. So
Well,
how
they
does
still
that work
have
for
to-
you?
They still have to cross the gorge, though.
Yeah, they still have to cross it, and then they meet him on that side. I never got the impression that they were going across it.
But effectively, we're outright told there are streams that go around it that will take you back to Redwall a lot faster.
I didn't get
Sure.
it was the gorge though. I just got it was like the entire journey.
Because they do cross the gorge later.
Yeah.
On the
If
tree.
you look at the map and you see their path across, yeah, they go directly across from the stream. It's like straight line right across the gorge to Loamhedge.
I think it's most likely they bypass like the giant cliff face that they had to that Matthias's group had to climb. Because we never really get that moment in this where they have to climb up that giant like rock face.
Yep.
We also do get a note that the stream is filled with the little piranha fishes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if
Which
those are
is
the
still canon. I mean,
I don't know if they're
we-
the same fish from Matameo, because
They
if they
seem-
are, they just
Yeah.
gets the image of Cheek from the animated series having a good lunch at their expense, and that's adorable. But at the same time, the fish here are described as being like only teeth, and
Yeah.
anything made of only teeth is pure nightmare fuel. So I'm not sure which one I'm trying to interpret here.
These seem a lot
Either.
more vicious to me because, like, if they were the same ones in Matameo, you'd think that anything in the river would get pulverized by these things.
Yeah.
Chapter 34 begins with a very humorous image we'll touch on when it actually happens, but it involves our bad guy trying to rapidly close the doors from inside the abbey. We're going to find out why shortly.
Oh yeah. I do like. It talks about Martha is now, she's now walking around, but she is using a blackthorn stick that Sister Setiva gives her, and she says, "Oh, take this whole thing and use it in good health, my bony lass. I only kept it to threaten Dibbins with."
Hey, what does this say? Property of Russ and Nodre on it?
And why is that crossed out and then says Rusano? I just love that. I only kept it to threaten Dibbins with.
And for the record, no, it's not actually confirmed this is that famous stick. I'm just being funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, of course not. I bet that stick is somewhere in Salamander Strawn's armory.
Oh, no doubt.
It's over a fireplace somewhere with a sign that says "Do not burn."
The word "not" is slowly fading away.
But yeah, it is points that they're being like smart, but yeah, Martha may be happy that she's walking around, but those muscles would have atrophied. She's gonna take a long time to get up to any normal sense of walking.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I mentioned this about what's the sister that they read about way back in book 1,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like they said like she came out of Loamhedge walking and then just went on the journey with them to Mossflower, and I was like, yeah, no, she wouldn't be doing that. And so like they do mention here and there that Martha is like having a little bit of trouble, but like I know physical therapy doesn't exist in this world, but yeah, she would be having to go through a heck of a lot to be doing some of the stuff she does later, where she's like running upstairs.
Much like, I mean, we know squirrel chiropractors exist, but you know.
Right.
This is true.
Did
Yeah.
we get to the part where Martha's saying like, "Oh, all this was pointless because now I can walk," and
I think we're about there. She says now like, oh, then we really shouldn't have sent them off because now I can walk. And Torian does bring up a good point of, yeah, but if the events that happened in chapter 31 didn't happen, then you still wouldn't be walking anyway. We'd be right back where
Right.
we started.
Except the way he phrased it was, you would still be sitting stuck in a chair. Don't like that. Do not like that at all. That's just like somebody telling me, you're stuck in the dark. It's like, no, that's not something that you say.
I was actually thinking of you the other day, Katie, because I've been listening to a podcast called the Magnus Archives, and it's all about like these 13 different entities, and there's like a bunch of different fears, and no spoilers, but one of them is just like straight up the fear of the dark. And all of them have a cult attached to them, and all of the cults have a specific ritual for their specific entity. And the one for the dark is literally just called the Black Sun, and all it does is just like pitch the earth into darkness. And the person who ruins this ritual, complete spoilers, is a blind woman that's just like, yeah, wouldn't it suck to live without your sight for a while, idiots? Just smacking people up.
That sounds like Toph out of Last Airbender.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're like, ooh, we live in like these pitch black caves and stuff. Nobody can get us here. And she's like, okay. Come here.
But yeah, I just don't like how Torin just said, like, I don't like how Jake's through Torin, I guess, makes the point that being in a wheelchair is like a terrible thing and shouldn't happen to people. Like, no. No, that's very problematic, and I do not like it.
Oh, and Baggerel has Badger Dreams again.
Yep.
Badger
So
dreams.
he's a little pissy today.
That sounds like a strain of Salamander strain. Badger dreams.
But yeah,
Badger Dreams.
he's like, wow. I mean, they're only dreams, and clearly, I mean, Werga's sons probably didn't do their job, but I mean, the Badger can't know where I am, and what is that over the hill?
Well, he does something very resourceful and smart. He actually starts researching the documents in the gatehouse, trying to see if there's like a secret way into the abbey.
Yes, and then he just throws them on the floor.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? A for effort.
Matthias, are you okay over there? He's just
No.
tossing records around.
This sign won't stop me because I can't read. Tosses all the documents on the ground.
One of them flat out just says secret way into Redwall. And so, yeah, and then he's like, hey, Ringe, how things are...
Huh, that's a suspiciously long arrow.
Yeah. It's like, Ringe, you have a tree trunk in you. And, oh, God.
I mean, it's not. That's okay. Maybe it's just the regular red wallers. It's not the badger.
Lana
Red
McLean is
is
here.
here.
Welcome to the party,
Lana.
pal.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep. And so Lana just starts shooting at them, and Raga's like, shut the door, shut the door. Oh my God, shut the door. And someone pops up, hey, Chief, what's... This is just Lana picking off them, and I just love the random comments of the arrow slams into the doors and shakes them. Oh God. And
I love the commentary of the Redwallers. Just like, oh, it's a big badger. Whoa, a big badger. It's like,
Does he have 1,000-strong hair army with him?
It's like, no, but by the way, the sea rats are freaking out, and we're gonna have to clean that walkway later. I don't think he needs them.
I think he's doing okay.
And I'm sure one of the sea rats is like, "Oh, you camping jerk!" It's a legitimate strategy.
Yeah. Thunk, thunk. Honestly,
They
got a guy
start
that grabs a sniper rifle in the Unreal Tournament and then hides in a corner. Oh God! And so the Red Wallers start like, oh, let's help. So they start throwing the pepper bombs from inside the Great Hall, peg one of the sea rats to the back of the head, and he stands up. Oh, that really...
yep.
So
Like, that misses out the most important part of that whole thing. It's like, we don't have anything that can reach them while they're hiding there on the wall tops. And his brother Gelf's like,
got
well,
an idea.
I think I have an idea. And his surname must be Da Vinci because he realizes, hey, if we balance out a pepper bomb with an equally weighted rock on the other side, bounce it on a window pole, and then throw it kind of catapult style, we can actually manage to hit them.
I was gonna say he was more like MacGyver, where it's like, okay, I just need a window pole, some string, a pepper bomb, and a rubber band,
And some chewing gum.
and some chewing gum. And then the Redwallers are like, yeah, let's throw the stuff. They then get way too overeager, and the bags of pepper start just like hitting the walls, falling back, and just covering the entire Great Hall in powder mist. And everyone has to run out of the room.
Except for the gibbons who are running around. Achoo! Bless you! Achoo! Bless you! Achoo! Bless you! It's like
That's
they
adorable.
continue to be the cutest thing in the book.
Oh my god, the Dibbins in this book are so cute.
And Werga's also still, hey, where are my sons? To Ragabol. Because she mentions just like, it's still mentioning she's kind of a little miffed about her kids missing.
My children are dead. I'm a little miffed about that.
Yeah.
They just went to a farm upstate.
Yeah. Don't worry, Lana found them. They're fine.
Hey, what?
And so, yeah, then the abbot says to Martha, like, we should probably get him, if we could only get him in here, then he could just stand at the window and snipe at them out on the lawn.
And then Martha proceeds to be like, well, if somebody could come out and get him, and then she outlines exactly how that somebody would do it. And then the abbot's like, no, I couldn't let anyone do that. And Martha's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go do a thing that's not at all related to what I just said. And the abbot's like, okay.
Yeah. She's like, time to go. And sneak.
I can't let my brother have all the fun.
Yeah.
I wrote
I
in my
can't
notes.
let my brother have all the stupid. I need some too.
Yes. I wrote in my notes, Martha's about to do a stupid thing, isn't she? And next line, yep.
I'm just kind of annoyed that the abbot didn't realize sooner what she was doing, because she outlined it exactly. And then he's like, oh, nobody could do that. And then she's like, okay, cool. I'm going to go walk around and stuff.
Yep.
She might as well just like
yeah.
pointing in the other direction and be like, hey, what's that? Zip.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like she's following some really trendy online news article with a clickbait title. How to make an outside badger an inside badger. 12 techniques for Abby breaking your new friend for life.
Abby breaking your new friend for life.
Abby hacks.
I see
10
way
essential
too
Abby
many
hacks.
animal training
Abbots
books
hate this
in our
second
library's collection.
Yeah.
I think they might have had an influence on me.
So yeah, we leave off and
Go back
head
to
over
our
to
cruise.
our other friends. And you know what? I always like to savor the new day and warm scones.
Yeah.
Scones.
Warm scones.
Again, Horty is still doing the whatever thing with nicknames. Logapudin.
Yep. And then so
Thank you.
So Horty, in a colossal moment of missing the point, listens to the shrews do like a fun little song about how the Log-a-Log is like a slave driver and everything, and they're like, it's just fun, and he then proceeds essentially to call Log-a-Log Briggy a freaking idiot.
Yes.
Like, yes, and you smell bad too. And he laughs and like to one of the guys, like, I got him good. And the other shoe's like, oh my god, what have you done? And Briggy, knowing that Horty's just an idiot, but he's like, all right, you're gonna go into the slave pit now. You don't have a slave pit, start digging. And Bragoon's like, look, I know he's stupid, but you should be nicer to him. He's like, oh no, I know. But he made a comment about wanting to be with the Long Patrol, and if he tried that, oh god, he'd be in trouble. Like, just thinking back to Long Patrol, where Trowbags got in trouble for some of the stuff he did, Horty would be like, okay, you're going to be carrying all the rations. You're going to be carrying all our weapons. You're going to be the first one in front with a sign on it that says hair shield.
Yes.
Yeah. I love how
And-
Briggy is kind of a sort of a dad figure to him, like teaching him lessons. Like, okay, you insult me, this is what you get. If you want to join the Long Patrol, you got to grow up, buddy.
Yep. And
You're gonna join the Long Patrol, buddy. You gotta be fighting fit.
Yep. And he even says like his son Jigger used to be like a little rambunctious, but he's commanding his own boat. So Briggy's like, don't worry, I'm going to punish him, but it's going to be for his own good, and I'm not going to be overly harsh. And he does need, and he's like, I see him having potential, but yeah, he's kind of got to learn the hard way in certain cases. And yeah, and then meanwhile, Fenna and Springgold are just like, servants, can you please fetch us more grapes?
Yeah.
And this is the part where it's Wuddle and Waddle, and what kind of name is that? Also, we get 2 songs in this chapter.
Yeah, well,
Just
you know,
Yay.
Jakes is
And-
gonna Jakes.
By the way, yeah,
Jake's gun Jakes.
for this section of the book, we have in total, by my count, where is it? 9 songs.
Jesus.
There's a lot.
Now 9 songs / poems.
This
So.
is true, but there's one later on that kind of bugged me because it's like where we have maybe like 6 pages left in the book, and one of them is like an entire page long song.
Brian
yeah.
likes writing songs.
I've noticed.
Yep.
And yep, and so they all get to the point where they have to go, and Fenna and Springgold are not happy, and Horty's like, oh, it's probably because of Jigger, and what's his name? Cuddles?
Tuddles.
Cuddles. She's like, it's Waddle.
They fell for Jigger and Wuddle hard. It's like, okay. That came
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Right.
And then they're never mentioned again. Or at least Wuddle isn't. And so yeah, in the next chapter, this is where we reach the gorge for Matameo. And unfortunately, thanks Slagger, the bridge is long gone, and unfortunately Jess Squirrel isn't here to create a zip line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but wait, there's a giant tree.
Yep. And we get a
That's
nice
convenient.
we get a nice little bit of tension here, and it's like quiet where Bragoon says like how he feels uneasy about it because they comment like some creatures must have pushed and like turned the Lord of Mossflower into a bridge. And it's like, depending on when this happened, whoever did that might still be around.
Mm-hmm. And I also like how Fenna was the one to spot the tree, and she showed it to Sarah, and Sarah was like, "Oh yeah," like I really like how they compliment these younger creatures and just like make them feel like they are contributing, which they are. But it's just really nice for them not to be like, "Aha, I get all the credit. I was the one who found it," you know.
Yeah, they discipline the younger, like the kids when they need to, but they also let them know like when they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the sequence of them crossing the gorge because it's just utter silence.
Yeah.
And I imagine if this was ever animated into a cartoon season, you'd get the Monty Python intermission in the middle of it.
Well,
Monty Python,
we'll
the Holy
talk
Grail.
for a moment.
I haven't seen
The gorge, at least in the chapter art, looks to only be about maybe 30 yards across, and that narrow of a gorge combined with a sufficient depth, it would be almost impossible to see the bottom except for 1 or 2 days a year with the sun aligning properly. But that being said, I wonder how many skeletons are at the bottom of this thing.
Oh God.
And if anything managed to survive or traveled the long way into the gorge, what kind of society you might have found formed at the bottom?
Yeah. I do not know.
Fanfic writers, get on that.
Indeed.
So then we get our totally well developed and interesting and amazing new villain of whoever the heck this guy is.
There's gotta be some kind of challenge on the way back, or else.
Yeah.
What was the point of this entire journey?
Karen Jewel?
Karen,
Yeah,
Karen Jewel.
we have a new villain group, and
Well, we all know what happened to the last showed up at the last second villain back in Tagarong, and so, well, I bet this guy will probably meet the exact same fate.
Yep.
Yeah, you know.
And he's a
Here-
were-rat. Now
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not only is
I-
it a were-rat, he's leading another cult.
Yep.
Did
The
you
Daz-
mention like Lord of the Abyss and like Lord of
Yeah.
like Life and Death? Which like is this some sort of offshoot of like what's his face's cult back in Matameo?
The Daz. His estate needs to sue somebody for copyright,
Yes.
Yep. And
and
so
maybe again enough times passed that he'd probably be okay.
the copyright expired.
Yeah.
But Karen Jewel's like, I am Lord of the Abyss trademark.
It's a were-rat, and yeah, he's leading a cult. Okay.
Alrighty. I'm sure we'll get to see plenty of them in the last, 30 pages of this book?
Yeah, definitely.
Ah,
Wear it. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
that's not a bad
Everyone
idea.
always asks where rat, but nobody ever asks how rat.
or even why rat.
Why rat actually does sound like a Brian Jakes character.
Why rat?
Paired up with X-rat and Z-rat.
Now, see, I was gonna go for where rat, there rat, there gorge.
They're Redwall.
Oh no, that one was not my fault.
No,
Why are you
Get that-
talking like that?
I just wanted to. Chapter 37 begins pretty much spoiling what's going to happen in this plot, and it's Lana walking into Redwall through a side gate.
Yep.
And he is massive.
Yep.
Like he did for Badgers.
Yeah. Well, we've got Martha Gear Solid tactical espionage action as she sneaks through the forest. And it's like, I made a bad choice. I made a bad choice. I made a bad choice. I don't think anybody saw me. Captain, I think I see something.
Yeah.
Could be somebody else. It's a hare. Could be a different hare. A hare that looks like she doesn't know what she's doing and she's talking to herself. Damn it.
And Lana's just like, he grabs her and runs. Like, what were you thinking?
Personally, I think the new catchphrase of the Sea Rat crew needs to be, Captain, I think
Yeah.
That seems to be happening a lot in this section. Captain, I saw.
Nope.
Captain, I found an arrow.
So yeah, Lana basically, he picks up and runs her, and when they get to safety, he's like, okay, what were you thinking?
Oh, yeah.
From the Abbey, I wanted to get you.
What does he do?
From the Abbey, I wanted to get you inside.
Yeah.
Oh, and
It's like, shouldn't you be in a chair?
Yeah.
well, after she introduces herself, he's like, "Oh, I know your brother."
Yeah.
You know my brother? Yeah, I know your brother. Sorry.
Horty's my brother. My condolences.
But yeah, he's just like, I thought you were in a chair. I thought you were less of a jerk to point that out.
And I do like how it shows him from her perspective, where she's just like, where do you stop? And so then Raga's like, okay, I know poison didn't work the first time, but you know what? I'm going to give it a second chance. And crack goes the Wurga.
Yeah, Torrin's like, nope.
Yep. Poison darts always backfire. Torrin for the win.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Torrin just tackles Wurga into a wall and cracks her head.
And I love Jake's is in the audiobook, his narration is so deadpan. It's like, and her head hit the wall, immediately reuniting her with her 3 sons.
I love
We're Badger exterminator.
Nice.
Oh God, Wurga's like, why did I want you 3 to come back again? Hey
Well,
Mom, did you get killed by the badger too? No, I got tackled by the cook.
The fat
Hot
one?
tackled by an out of shape cook. Oh.
It's like, Badger D's killing. Who are you gonna call? Well, obviously not Orca and her 3 sons because they can't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Oh, and hey, we found the unbolted side gate. And there's Lana like, get me the grease. I don't know that I can get through this.
It's like
No, that's not. They don't grease him through, but he barely fits through.
yeah.
He had to literally wiggle through. We're told.
I
Maybe
thought
that's
that
why
was
a
the
lot
window.
of Badger mothers never left the Abbey because they couldn't fit through the doors.
I always thought that was the window, though, not the gate. Like the window to the dormitory.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
it's
the window.
It's both of them. It's like
Oh,
to get
okay.
into that, like into the grounds, he goes through the side door, and then he has to like rock climb up through one of the windows, and then kind of
Yes.
squeezes through there too. And they're like, "You're really large." He's like, "I know." Ow. Oh man, and I do like the touch of like most of the Redwallers are like, he's gigantic. Oh my god, his scars. And Martha's like, if you notice, Carol Torn and I did not mention them. And he's like, and thank you. You are my good friends now. And then they reference Gervil as the dumpy figure of a mole lady. What?
Yeah.
Dumpy figure?
Right.
That just stuck out to me.
I'm glad you're here. We previously had a not Badger Mother, Sagax, right? That was his name. I don't know. It's been too long. So the job's open as long as you can help us get rid of these vermin.
Yep.
I'm just gonna get rid of the vermin, okay?
Yeah. Orkin man.
To go back briefly just for a second, like when they were talking about how all the Redwallers were speculating on how Lana's face got all scarred up, it's like this is a thing that some otherwise decent people sometimes do. Is like I've been sitting right across from people at a table and they're speculating to each other as to how I became blind. It's like, I'm right here. I'm here. I can hear you. And they're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, yeah.
And Lana's just like, well, I got let's see, how many arrows do I got left? Oh, there's 20.
23 and a mole babe.
And a mole babe.
Yes. Muggum sleeping in Lana's quiver put this amusing thought into my head of Lana running out of arrows and firing Muggum, who's waving a kitchen knife from his bow. While Muggum tries to yell Eulalia in mole speak.
Oh, that's straight out of Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh god.
Oh.
And then
I thought it was really sweet though because Muggum offered Lana his bed because Lana said that his bed was so big he couldn't carry it, and Muggum's like, "You can have mine. I'll sleep in your arrow quiver."
that was so cute.
Yes.
Oh.
And then Mugga
It's
comes
so
back
good.
later. My bed's been just crushed.
And Lana's like, then was like, I'm going to go snipe a few, and walks out, and Carol's like, that was creepy.
Oh, he has the blood wrath.
Yeah.
And at this point, and they actually do address this later, but it's like, oh, beware him. He has the blood wrath, and if you're around him when he's the blood wrath, he'll totally hurt you to get at his hated enemy. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, what badgers have actually hurt another hero character while they're in the middle of the blood wrath?
Well, at one point he kicks Torin aside.
He does.
Yeah.
Here.
But,
I'm
yeah.
thinking other badgers we've seen.
I can't remember. I know Krega was really close to demolishing the sergeant, but she actually didn't.
Yeah.
So
I feel like some of the previous ones have put other creatures in danger while they've been under blood wrath, like Sunflash running off on his own.
yes.
Yep. Krega in every single page of Long Patrol.
Earthstripe. Yeah.
Nothing against. I loved Krega, but she was a bad leader in the Long Patrol.
She definitely was. And Earthstripe did the same thing too.
I mean, we're told Sunflash's hair is straight up telling him, like, you try to, if you start lashing out to us in the blood wrath, we'll knock you unconscious ourselves and drag you back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, Earthstripe definitely had some problems.
Yeah.
Boar was like the only one that didn't do that because he was just like, I'm going to have the blood wrath because there's nobody else around me and I just want to kill every single vermin in the area.
Yeah, he sends everyone else away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it Ron Blade in, was it Mariel?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, where he sent off everyone and he goes, "I see a ship. Now I
All
have a ship."
mine.
There's blood everywhere. Like, the one sea rat survivor that died shortly after that was just terrified out of his wits.
Yeah, poor
Yeah.
guy.
Oh my god, that guy died screaming.
And
So-
Ron Blade's just sleeping like a babe, like, oh yeah, that feels good. It's like,
back to my point. While you could argue that other badgers have put other creatures in danger, they never have actually lashed out at an ally.
There have been plenty where they get the heck out of their way though. Like when Earthlight
Mhm.
saw Earthstripe die, it was everybody out of the pool.
Yeah.
Like everybody ran for their lives as he went like ballistic.
Here
So-
we actually do have that where
Yeah.
Lana does kick out at a Redwaller who is in his way.
Right. So I'm thinking that maybe the reason that we haven't come across this before is that the Salamandastron hares know what's up. And so they are cognizant of the situation enough to be like, okay, yep, get everyone out of the way. So the badger can't lash out. And
As
so the
we
red
said.
are just like, ah!
As we said, do you have your blood wrath buddy?
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
do you have your blood wrath buddy?
In the event of a blood wrath, the exits are located here, here, and here.
Right.
And so then Lana, learning from the great first-person shooters of the time, gets a double kill.
Woo!
He takes out two sea rats with one arrow. And I can
Yep.
just hear the old Unreal Tournament announcer, double kill.
What's that Long Patrol hare saying? 'Tis death on the wind.
Yes.
And we've got Grimmel and Deadtooth. Well, the rest of them is now dead too, so there we go.
Yeah.
And Rotpaw, who will be, the rest of them will rot now because the arrow went through him. And I do like the comment, I was like, find me Wurga as well. Do you want to, like, you didn't mention that we found Wurga's body over there. I don't want to tell him, you tell him.
Right.
Well, she's dead. Huh. Well, at least you won't have to complain about her son's missing anymore.
Yeah.
So we're to the Badger and the Bell with our hero group.
Yep. Not
And
a whole lot happens in this chapter. Like, it's,
yeah.
they just sort of like, all right, found a dude, making some food. We apparently
Rhymes.
forgot to
You
bring the
rhymed.
full map and notes from Tim Churchmouse, and he's like yelling at them from beyond. He's yelling at them and doesn't have access to a phone because Martin ran up all the long distance charges. So, is there like, where do we go from here? And I was like, didn't you bring all the stuff from Tim Churchmouse's notes? Or wait, no, maybe they didn't because they didn't know how to read. And they didn't know
Yeah.
that the trio would be coming too.
I kinda like
okay, I've
this.
solved my own plot hole. Yay.
I like the fact that they're not good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, yeah. Or Burgoon's like, I need glasses. That's why I can't read. And Sarah's like, I'm just going to give this to you because I'm not even going to lie about needing glasses. I'm just not good at reading.
Yeah, I do like that where they're shown like they have the street smarts,
Mhm.
or forest smarts, I guess, but they don't have like the basic reading ability and things like that because they dropped out of school. Stay in school, kids. In this very special episode of Redwall. And yeah, so like they find this guy Tubeldum and his little lizard, and he will
Nice.
For those wondering why I keep randomly laughing, it's because Matthias keeps randomly sending stuff into the chat.
I bet Jeremy thinks the name is Tubal Dumb.
It's not the dumbest name in this book, though.
No.
And yeah, he's a dormouse with his little sand lizard buddy.
Yep. He's a little dormouse.
And his sand lizard, which if you look at the art for the chapter, is like a fourth of his size, which says something about a dormouse. His name is Bub Bub.
Yes.
Yep.
He's very cute.
I want Bub to end up with half snout or whatever, so we can get a half chop, so we can get like Bub ka-chunk, Bub ka-chunk. Yeah, no more ka-chunk for the rest of the book.
Yeah. I like how
I
Bubba
mean-
just keeps going from person to person wanting to be petted. It's like he behaves so much like a dog. It's hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah. We didn't get a weird thing is like, so chapter 38 just, sort of ends with them like, oh, we'll go to Tweedledum's house. And then chapter 39 immediately picks up right after.
Hmm.
Like, why was there even a chapter break?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I would wager it's probably some interference from the publisher being like, we need to have a chapter break here, otherwise the chapter will be too long.
This is
And basically, Tweedledum's house is in the ruins of Loamhedge.
It is. Oh, and did we mention that Horty told a bunch of slight exaggerations to Tweedledum about how he's the ruler of Redwall and he's the head cook and he's the pathfinder the entire journey.
Shut up, Horty.
Slight exaggerations.
Slight exaggerations,
Yeah. AKA the exact opposite of everything.
Right.
And there's only 5 chapters left in this book, and our heroes are only just now reaching Loamhedge.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of exploration and detailed backstory.
What's the name of this book again? Not Loamhedge? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're gonna explore and find out more of the Abbey lore and history, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's funny because I thought that the first time I read this book too. We then get Tweedledum's house, which sounds pretty cozy. And
It's
they
basically
say,
the Shire, but yeah.
yep. And they ask him where they need to go, and he's like, "Well, you can go to this place, but I'm not going there because it's full of it's depressing and
It's a graveyard.
it's basically they find a full-on graveyard for Loamhedge, and we don't really get graveyards in the series.
Not very often. We were told about individual graves for characters of note,
Yeah.
and then we have the full-on tomb of Martin and Abbess Germain.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But no.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
Horty falls down one of these open graves.
He definitely does.
Poor
look,
dumb
it's-
Horty.
It's the oh well from the gag from the first episode.
Well,
Ah!
that and it's like, hey guys, I'm okay, but I found this rat and fox skeleton down here. Is that important?
Yep.
So I have a quick question. When they found this gravestone with the sunny slopes and silent streams is what the audiobook has Fenna read out. But then Bragoon and Sarah changed it to sunny slopes and quiet streams. I was wondering if that was a mistake in the book or if they actually changed it a little bit.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Well, maybe I think they said they
Gone
could-
to. I have the Kindle version here, so it's the most up to date editorially. Gone to sunny slopes and silent streams.
Okay. And then right after that, Bragoon's like, sunny slopes and quiet streams, eh? I'm like, well.
Yeah, that's exactly what's written here in the Kindle
Okay.
version too.
Yeah.
So I guess Bragoon is like, well, I can change a little bit about that. Or maybe he just wasn't listening very well. But that was a little nitpicky thing that was like, it's not exactly what she said. This is my court reporter coming out. It's like, could somebody read back those notes? I don't think they're quite correct.
Well, to be fair, when they recite it, they just went through something. So
Yeah.
yeah, and Bragoon does say we're not going to spoil what's actually happening in this, but Bragoon says, do you recall what it said?" And Sarah was just like, "Gone to sunny slopes and quiet streams. I liked it." So
Mm-hmm.
it's just she might just be remembering it wrong.
Oh, chapter 40 begins, and it's oh dear God, that's Lana.
Yeah,
in
that
full,
chapter art is amazing.
Yeah.
It's intimidating in all the right ways.
Yeah, my
I
comment,
can't.
my comment, my notes was, well, judging by the angry scarred badger wielding a bow in this chapter, I can tell this will be a happy chapter.
Yes, quite.
And we're actually given a good look at his scar full on. It
Mhm.
traces from the tip of one ear all the way down to his nose.
Yep.
Diagonally across his face.
Yep. So, much like most of Raga's crew, the morale for the remaining crew is dead.
We're outright told that his crew are beginning to pull more ash legs and desert.
Yep.
They're smart. I don't blame them.
I
Nope.
do not either.
We're out.
And Raga has a plan, which I'm sure will definitely not result in a mass slaughter of his crew at the hands of Lana.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Don't do it,
And
Raga. It's a bad idea. Whatever it is, because
Yep.
you're not telling.
well, Raga then decides his plan is I'm going to call out Lana for a one-on-one fight, but then have all my crew try and attack him. And I'm sure
boss?
this will work out real well.
Boss, you remember your vermin tales about Farago the assassin?
Yep. And Lana then decides to go with the Kragus strategy of toss your weapon away and strangle your opponent.
Yep.
It's more than that. Because they do the one-on-one fight, and then Lana basically just turns into the Hulk picking up Loki and smashing him.
And then he starts and it flat out says he starts using Ragapul's body with spears jammed into it as a melee weapon.
Yep.
Lord have mercy.
Yep. Lana is all kinds of spooky, scary right now.
Yeah, and when the Redwallers who are charging out to help see him, they're like, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
Yep.
Run!"
Charge, charge, charge! Wait. Retreat.
Or to borrow the Monty Python again. Run away! Run away! But yeah, we're basically told when these two have their intimate little fight, not only does Lana just grab him, he uses Raga as a physical shield to guard against the spears thrown his way by the rest of the barely 20-something crew, and then, like I said, pulls the Hulk with Loki.
Oh
Bash, bash, bash.
beauty,
Yes.
see that.
I
Lana
like
smash! Lana
When
is strongest there is.
When he tosses Ragavul's body away, also it says that the spears that were stuck in him were like pinging against the wall as he was falling. And I was like, that is very detailed and kind of graphic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, much like Lana's patience, Ragapul's spine is snapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Lana-
and then Lana just sort of sits down and looks over and goes, "So what are you guys up to?"
Now he goes running after the other rats. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna kill
does.
all of them.
Well, he does. He sits down for a minute after he just kind of tosses Raga's body over the wall, and he's like, "So what's for dinner?"
Yeah.
Yes. Let me just
Lana
read
has
it.
some issues.
Let me just read it. With a powerful heave, the big badger tossed his one-time enemy over the wall, listening to his body clattering through the tree limbs. Smiling like a Dibbon who had just learned a new trick, Lana Stripe sat down, letting his foot paws dangle over the lawn. And it's like, that's 2 parts adorable, 1 part horrifying.
Yeah.
God.
I think like I said it back in, it was either book 1 or 2. I was like, this guy is like if Earthstripe and Sunflash merged into one guy.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, that was the end of the Siege of Redwall.
And it's
It
a
was-
shame that the whole battle is barely over 2 pages long. It's like,
Yeah.
I
It was,
wanted more of that, please. Thank you.
it was basically Lana wins. Sea-rat-ality. And yeah, that was it. I'm sure we'll get some epic. No, we won't. So moving to chapter 41. Poor Horty is knocked unconscious because he fell down a pit. And so they haul him out and then find at the bottom there's nothing there.
Right.
Not even a fox skeleton or a rat skeleton.
Yeah,
No.
we wish.
Oh, there
That
are
actually
some
would have been a
wheels.
decent callback, oh
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
There are
Well,
some
to be
wheels,
fair,
like-
Slagar fell down a different hole, so
Yeah, I know.
That's true. There's like what
Uh,
was left of a wheelchair. I think that's all.
And
there
Matthias
is.
chatted how much brain damage did Horty get. I'm not sure how much was left to damage.
Aw.
Oh, wow.
No. It wasn't brain damage. It was Dane Bramage. There's an important difference.
My brain switched that, like just auto-corrected that. Damn you, autocorrect.
Or also told, Horty's indestructible. Oh.
Yeah.
Indestructible. Instructible.
Aw.
Don't worry. I'm perfectly fine. Fenna, why are there 3 of you?
Yeah,
Don't
Fenna
worry,
starts.
Cicero, you and your twin sister need to stop talking to me. I'm perfectly fine. I can hold my brain damage. I can hold my brain in my hand.
Oh no!
Wow.
But Fenna starts to bind up his wounds, and Horty does a fantastic impression of Grubbage.
Yeah.
So, question here. We're told all the way back in Metamail that Loamhedge collapsed during an earthquake or two.
Mhm.
And there have clearly been other earthquakes since, based on this book. How did they find this basement? Why is that even intact?
Flashbang.
Isn't this separate from the actual Abbey building, though? Is
Maybe a little bit outside, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they had like an actually designated crypt. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tales from the Loamhedge Crypt.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they find the rotted chair, bones, stones, and dust. And Fennet and Springle take the rocks, which they assume were used as wheels for the wheelchair that Sister Emile had used. And then Bragoon and Sarah are like, we're gonna stay down here a little bit longer. We'll try and find something. And they come back and say like, so how's dinner? What'd you find? How's dinner? What'd you
Yeah.
find? Oh, that dinner smells good. Will you stop messing with us? And thankfully, within one chapter, they take care of Horty before the I can't hear properly gag goes any further, considering,
Yes.
as it was just pointed out, we already had that in the last book.
So, question: when they were telling the kids what they found, the actors in the audiobook sounded like they were making something up as they went along. Did you guys get that impression? Because the audiobook were like, yeah, the torch went out, so like we stepped on the plinth, and then it opened, and it was it was right there. Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't get it that way. I thought they were trying to be all clever and everything, like, oh, you see, this torch fell out. Like they were explaining it, like the torch fell out. We looked around, and when we lit it, we found it.
Yeah, if you get a chance to listen to the audiobook, it's pretty obvious like that the actors are making it sound like they're making this up as they go.
I like that version better now. I like that idea better. Like, yeah, we found it. It was Bob had it.
Yeah.
Who's Bob? Don't
Yeah.
you remember Bob? Just go with it.
Yeah. Go with it. Yeah. And so they head off on their way, and they're like, man, poor, what the hell was his name? Tubeldum. And they're like, poor Tubeldum, he's all off on his own with no food. And Bragan and Sarah are like, yeah, he had a stash underneath the floorboards. He was just getting food from us and needs to survive on his own with his own food. And we'll never see him again. And I hope there's not some psychotic death cult waiting for us.
That's oddly specific.
Secret pantry ain't so secret anymore.
Yeah.
And so, chapter 42, everything's kind of back to normal at Redwall. Lana's off on a killing spree.
Yeah.
And one of the sea rats basically gets the, you'll never take me alive. I don't want you alive.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Bowstripe.
I don't know who you are, what you want, but I have a particular set of skills that make me a knight.
Just kill me already.
I must monologue. Yep. And then, man, you know where Lana would be super helpful? Handling that death cult.
Right.
So we then get this ominous scene before the gorge where Bragoon's like, all right, we're going to make one last camp. We're going to eat our food, we'll eat what food we have, leave everything else here, and then we're going to get the heck out of here. And he says, like, this, I didn't like it when we passed it by earlier, and I really don't like it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're about to cross when a bunch of they're probably hooded or they're shaved their heads or whatever the heck whatever this cult shtick is show up, and Karen Jewel the Wear-It shows up with his trident, which I think that's what the Wear-It in Matameo used, right? He had like a
No, he had a net and
Large spear.
okay. And
to
so
the internet, and I mean by that by the Red Wall Wiki.
to the web. And a big crazy battle breaks out with Bragoon and Horty trying to fight off the ledge, Saro holding the trunk by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Fenna gets a good moment where she kills one of the cult members and like sends him falling to his doom and freaks out.
Uh-huh.
Which I liked. I thought that was a nice touch because
I liked it too.
yeah, like they haven't had to fight really until this point, and you can see she was not ready for this journey.
Well, but the rat was going after Sprinkle, so she just shoved him off, and she's like, "Oh no, I just killed a guy."
Yeah, and Springold even was like, "You did it for a good reason. Come on, we got to move."
Yeah.
I liked that, and we get Bragoon tells them to go, like, leave us. You're young. You have your whole lives ahead of you, and we've lived one season too long. And Horty tries to stay. Like, he doesn't want, it's essentially the moment of like, no, I can't just leave you like this. And Bragoon says, go or I'll kill you myself, which I don't think he would, but he's like, no. You need to go home to your sister.
Yeah, I really like Horty's reaction though, because he's just like angry and like angry tears and just throwing things. Like, I do not want to go, but I know I have to, but I don't want to.
Yeah, how can you do this to me? You've taught me so much. I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it shows that he eventually does it. He eventually goes, and Bragoon even says, like, you need to keep you also need to make sure you keep Fenna and Springold safe. Because we've shown that Horty has that fighting spirit in them. It's obvious those two don't. And he, until they get back to the shrews, he's going to be the one to keep them safe.
Yep, and that's what Sarah tells him. She's like, get up there and cut the rope. Otherwise, they're going to come up and kill your two friends. So you need to go. And I think that's what finally gets him to go.
Yep, and he does the right thing. Doing the right thing is not always the easiest thing to do.
Yep.
And Bragoon and Sarah then straight up take out the entire army by dislodging the tree bridge and send the Wear-It and all of them down into the pit, but like into the gorge below. No.
Oh no.
Okay. Thank you, Pete, for completely taking all the drama out of that.
Yeah, I couldn't resist.
Okay.
That's all right. When we were talking about it earlier, I was just thinking of Wile E. Coyote holding up a sign.
Yikes.
Oh, now I have the image of the Wear-It, like, yipe.
Yeah.
Yep.
But moving a tree trunk like that, even with mechanical advantage, that's hard work. So how strong are Bragoon and Saro?
And this is after they're exhausted and like wounded from head to toe.
Yeah, fatally wounded.
It's probably the scenario of mother lifting a car off their kids.
Yeah.
In an emotional driven situation like that, in an emergency, human beings, and thus our anthropomorphic characters, can override your body's own safety limits, and basically you get 3 times the strength, even if it wrecks you.
It's kind of like how at the end of Salamandastron, where it said like Earthstripe, but like drew on a sense of strength a strength he didn't know he had, got back up from like the kiss of death, like he was almost gone, and still started taking on Farago's crew and took out Farago. So yeah, and they die holding hands.
Yep.
Going out as true friends.
One thing we didn't mention when they're in the Loamhedge crypt itself is that they don't find the magic cure-all.
That we skated over that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And they basically are like, well, crap. what do we do now? And we basically get the idea of let's just write something down and take it back to Redwall.
Well, we don't find that out yet that they wrote.
Yeah,
something.
no,
Yeah.
not yet. We're gonna go into
Spoilers.
it. I know I'm spoiling. Sorry.
Yeah, and so they die still as true friends. And
Yep.
they even say, like, as they're going out, they say, like, retiring at Redwall, that wasn't for us.
Hmm.
And yeah, so the next chapter begins with Carol hears a riddle from Martin saying that, like, whoever returns holding Martin's sword will be the next leader of Redwall. And
He's thinking, oh God, I gave it to Burgoon. No!
and then yeah, and Martha's like, well, what if Sarah has it? Even worse.
Yeah. And then
What if it's my brother?
Yeah.
No!
Hey guys, I mean, Martin. It's just a suggestion, right? We don't have to obey Martin in this.
Yeah.
Martin's word is law. We cannot stray from it.
Yeah. So and then they're like, well, it could be one of the other three. And they're like, dear God, I hope it's not Horty. And this is the point where I was like, geez, there's barely any book left, and there's still a full page song.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Lana's back, and he's like, well, took care of that sea rat problem for you. I'll send you my bill in a little bit.
No, just pay me in food. All the food.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we still got this opening for Resident Badger. No, I was on my way to Salamander Strong when my buddy was killed and I was scarred. That's where I'm going.
Yep. And
Grandmom Gerbil just lays down a whole bunch of food in front of him, is basically like, eat your fill, and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I want to point out, one of the things she sets down in front of him is a plate piled with corn and fruit slices, and it's like, I meant to point this out last book in Triss, but they have corn.
They do.
That's
It's
an
like-
American crop, not a British.
Exactly.
they imported.
I don't know where they got their hands on it, but that does explain how they get a lot of their like meal and like flour substitutes.
Hmm.
I mean, they grow wheat, so they always have.
But yeah, instead of having like a huge, field of nothing but wheat, they have corn instead.
Then Jigger and a couple of the shrews arrive and deliver the sad news that Bragoon and Sarah are gone. But they said, like, I bet they took some of those vermin with them. And Jigger's like, no, they took all the vermin with them. They're legends now. And so eventually
the tapestry has changed, just like it would in the animated series to show them.
yeah. And so then the group returns, and they mentioned Horty's got like an injury on his football, and he's like, injury in the line of duty. And then Springle's like, no, you were messing with Martin's sword and you dropped it. Shut up. and Carol's like, who has the sword now?
Oh, please, God, who has the sword?
Yeah. And then Fenna is like, yeah, I took it from Horty, made sure to wrap it back up in the bark cloth and kept it safe. Here you go. Abbott, why are you looking at me weird? No reason. I'll tell you when you're older.
Yeah, and I like how they're like, hey, wait, Martha, why are you walking and stuff?
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
Yeah.
Through the power of friendship. We then get nice touching moment though with recounting of the journey and handing Martha the note, which they think was written by Sister Emile. And then we get a nice fun moment revealing, nope, Bragoon and Sarah wrote it. And it was priceless because Martha's like, Abbott Carroll, why are you laughing? I mean, I know it's in this old script, but what's wrong with it? It's like, old script. Look, they wrote it because neither of them can write properly. And you know what? We'll get into it, but I like the fact that they still wanted to try and give something to Martha to show that this journey wasn't a waste.
Yes, I mean, setting aside the fact that they basically said anything can be cured with willpower,
Yeah.
it was a nice thought.
What is this, the Green Lantern Corps?
Yeah.
In brightest day and darkest night by Martha's Might.
Yeah.
um, so the thought was there, and it was very sweet of them to do it.
Yeah.
What's really funny is the how do you want to describe it? It's just a single verse, rhyming verse, and it shows up twice. Once how you think it should be written, and then once how it was like phonetically written,
Yes.
and it is so terrible.
I love it. The body is ruled by the mind. I tell you this be true. By willpower you may find. Naught is denied to you. Which it's actually written out as the body is ruled by the mind. I tell you this be true. By willpower you may find. Naught is denied to you.
And there's formal, like, I don't know if I should take offense to this.
Yeah, they wrote it in mole speak.
Yes, that was not conveyed very well in the audiobook, so I had to look up in my braille copy to see the differences in spelling, and I was like, oh yeah, this is bad.
That was cute though, because I love how Martha's like, I don't know, it's written in an old script, and he's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
That's just really bad penmanship combined with really bad spelling.
Yeah.
That was great. Nort. And then we get a 1.5-page epilogue of just Horty grew up to become a captain of the Long Patrol. This is like the end of Animal House.
Lana apparently liked his resume at Salamandastron, so he's Badger Lord.
Yep.
So what's your resume? I killed sea rats.
Welcome.
Work.
Yep.
Approved. And you know what? I will say I got a little misty-eyed at the comment where they said Martha kept her promise to Bragoon and Saro by dancing on the threshold in their honor, and she does it for every harvest.
Yeah.
I thought that was very sweet.
It's a very bittersweet ending because it's like what these characters went through, and their death was only like a 12.5 pages back, and it's like so you're still kind of reeling from the fact that they aren't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a gut punch, and then she's doing something to remember them by, and it's like, oh, right in the feels.
Yeah.
I also noticed that Salamandastron's finally actually doing its job, and they're sending out regular patrols. They're supposed to do.
Either that or Horty's just like, we need to patrol to Redwall to keep the place safe. Captain, do you just want to go there for food? Run 10 laps.
Apparently he has a military mustache. Okay.
When he arrives,
we've
one of them
seen
says, I must
hairs.
ask you a question.
We've seen hairs with art has art that depict mustaches before. And in our coming season 3 of Martin the Warrior, when we ever get to it, the one hair in that book is drawn with a mustache.
Woo!
Right.
I'm looking forward to that. Seeing that part at least. That would be cool. But yeah, and that's the end of the book.
Oh, there's a ballad here. The Rose of Redwall.
That's it. They don't say what it is.
No, they don't.
No.
That's the one song we don't get. Okay.
Well, no, it was earlier in the book.
Oh.
Martha sang it before they left.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I mean, when we're doing these episodes, essentially 1/3 of the book at a time.
Yeah.
I don't always remember what's in the book we just read.
And when there's like 80 songs in one book.
There's a lot of songs in this one. Like I have the songs from Redwall CD, and after each song they have like a in parentheses what book it was from. I'm going through is like Loamhedge, 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 Loamhedge.
Should have called it Songhedge.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think we are? The Red Wall podcast to do is one book per episode? No. We love them. And apparently they allegedly recorded for Salamandastron, so I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say.
Yeah.
I'm sure they hate teenagers as much as we do.
Well,
Well, the teenagers in that book were much better than the teenagers in the prior book.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the teenagers in the prior book.
Get off my front lawns!
And I did like Bragoon saying, like, I would never be able to grow old sitting with Father Fred and counting the teeth that fall out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah.
Loamhedge.
That's that's all, folks.
So, in that respect, should this book been titled something else?
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
It's a decent story, minus the obvious ableism depicted here. But, as Katie has repeatedly touched on, but yeah, I liked it. Did I like the vermin group that actually got inside the Abbey first? No. Oh my God, no.
I liked them in the fact that they were actually funny. I didn't like them in terms of actually being competent, because competent and those guys don't belong together in the same sense.
That group doesn't know how to spell competent.
Well,
sure, but Flinky will probably give it a good old try now, won't he?
I did like Flinky.
I liked Flinky.
Yeah. This one, it was not bad. Like, I enjoyed this book more in later readings of it because, like, the first time I read it, I was massively disappointed that it was not, more about Loamhedge. But, it was a fun adventure. It felt like there was less, like, overall action in the book, but, like, what we got was at least a little bit more unique. And Bragoon and Saro were fantastic. I really enjoyed them throughout the entire story. And there were a lot of likable characters too. Like I still like Fred, with him talking to his furniture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, he died.
Oh yeah, he died in the epilogue.
Yep.
Oh, now I'm sad again. And yeah, I will definitely say it's not one of my favorite books, but it's an enjoyable adventure. And yes, I agree that it definitely should have had a different title.
Yeah, it has great moments of comedy. It has great moments of, like, the death of Bragoon and Sorrow always makes me kind of tear up a little bit, as much as I ever tear up while reading books. I'm kind of a robot, I'm realizing. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to really expand on the problematic stuff because I already did. But I just want to say it is possible to be a whole, fulfilled, happy person and still have a disability. That's all I wanted to say. I did like this book, though.
I liked it. I'll agree. It's not one of the great Redwall books, but it's not one of the bad Redwall books. And I use the word bad in quotation marks because I don't think there are any Redwall books that are truly terrible. There are just some that aren't as good as the great ones.
Roku.
So on a sliding scale of great ones, not great ones, and somewhere between the great and not great ones, this is definitely a in the middle, not quite as great as the great ones.
That was a very convoluted sentence you just said, sir.
And?
Nothing, just making an observation.
Yep. I felt like the book ended a bit too abruptly. The last 4 or 5 chapters felt rushed.
Yeah.
And I think that was partly due to the fact this is the second longest book in the series. And my first edition here is 424 pages by the end of the epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had gotten the extra, like, 20 pages or so that I'd wanted, we would have been up near 450 pages, and I don't think the publisher would have liked that very much.
Yeah.
But the ending just didn't have as much meat on it as some of the other sections. And then some of the other sections, as we've mentioned, they feel a little bit empty. Like, stuff happens, but it's not really, like, noteworthy stuff. Looking back through my notes, there are some chapters where it's like I say maybe 3 or 4 things, and 3 of those things are just jokes that really don't do anything besides point out, hey, there's this funny inconsistency here, or that sounds like this other thing.
Yeah, I barely had any notes for, like, chapter 8 outside of, like, Toobledum is a nice one. Horty the cookie. Like, there wasn't a whole lot there. Like, I feel like some stuff could have been like, I don't think Tubeldum really was needed. Like, maybe they could have stretched out of them just finding it and everything, or shortened that bit. But yeah, it does feel like they kind of wrap things up really quickly.
I will say, though, that is a nice change of pace because as much as I would love a big epic finale, big epic finales seem to be about a dime a dozen when it comes to the series. So to have something that ends a little differently, I appreciate what Brian was trying to do and break out of his mold. So I will give it points for style that will make up for the different substance. Kind of like that weird recipe that you want to try just to say, hey, does it work? I'm not sure it quite worked, but it's definitely a worthy experiment, and I'm glad it's there.
We're the experiment.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah,
Experiment.
Experiment. Yep.
all right. Well, that wraps this one up. Drew, did you get your dream?
I was gonna say, where did you go?
Drew?
Drew?
Oh my god. I pulled a Matthias. I pulled a Matthias. At the beginning of the podcast, he was like, what if I was just muted for the entire time? I've been muted for the last, 15 to 20 minutes. Oh my goodness. I got, cold brew in the other room. I was just like, oh, I'm going to get that really quick. I pressed the mute button on my mic instead of Skype. So by the time I got back, I just tapped it again thinking, okay, it's fine. And it was still flashing, even oh my god.
Okay, so your thoughts on the past 15 to 20 minutes?
Oh,
The last section of the book.
I liked Matthias's speech about the fact that it was kind of a middling book. I did groan Outcast when you were talking about there being no bad Redwall books, but I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the journey that was taken through this book. It's I know they had the original speech where they're like, oh well, if they didn't go on this journey, you would have never found out that you can use your legs. Well, okay, but people still died for that, so
Yeah.
you could argue that was kind of a coming of age story for Horty and his friends as well as Martha. Was it Martha, right?
Yeah.
I was like, am I remembering entire wrong book? I think I just read Marta somewhere. It was from Knives Out, but it just didn't work for me, dog. I think this is somewhere in my bottom 4 or 5.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Compared to other books in the series, I'm not going to return to this one as nearly as quickly.
Yeah, this was your first time out on this one, right, Pete?
It was, honestly, and it's okay. I mean, we're into this last section of the continuity where no books really interconnect anymore, minus a couple of passing references. And yeah, it's a weaker approach.
Yeah, but you're approaching each book fresh now as an actual Jake's scholar.
Call me a scholar anyway. But like I said, I don't hate it. It's decent enough. But as mentioned, the ableism is kind of bad. And if you're gonna make a book about Loamhedge, make a book about Loamhedge. So,
yeah.
Matthias posted in the general chat, what would you have retitled this? And that's a good question. Honestly, I probably would have gone the easy route and made it about Lana Bowstripe somehow.
Yeah, and
Along
at
that
this
line.
point, I do like Lana. By the time Eulalia comes around, though, and this isn't a huge spoiler for Eulalia, but I'm just kind of tired of avenging Badger dudes. Because it's mostly always a dude, and they mostly always have this revenge story. And I'm like, okay, this is getting old.
Yeah, this one felt kind of like a mashup of all of the previous ones. It's like, okay, like I I completely understand that Redwall has a formula,
Mhm.
and it is a book series for children, but it just felt like there was like a laundry list of story beats that needed to be hit, and they were, but it was all kind of a bit disheveled. It was like, okay, there's an avenging badger, and he gonna kill people willy nilly. Although the scenes with that were pretty darn neat, I will say. The whole thing, it was like, oh, he's running. It reminds me of that scene from Mulan, where they're like, how many people do we need to send a message? And the guy draws his bow back and goes, just one. Nails the other guy in the back.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say the wheelchair plot is unique, and I would have really liked it if it was done well. Unfortunately, it's not. So I have problems with it.
If I had to give the book a title, I would probably call it Martha of Redwall, just because if you look at the number of the different plots, how many of them relate back to her in some way, shape, or form.
I like that, yeah.
So it also then calls back a little bit to Mariel of Redwall. And I mean, she is in many ways the main protagonist. Her brother goes off with Bragoon and Sero, and they have their adventure, but the adventure is really for her. And then even Lana's story arc comes and crosses in with Redwall, rather than Redwall crossing in with his.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe Bragoon and Sorrow, because they were the whole, I don't know. Maybe that would be a good title, because they were a lot of the impetus for what happened in the book. Like, they were part of Martha's plot. They were obviously part of Horty's plot.
My only issue with that is that would be the only Redwall book with the word "and" in the title, and I think that might be a little weird.
That's true.
So that just leads us into, and by the time this episode comes out, we'll already be in October. So
spooky, scary skeleton. I'm sorry.
No, because we're back to Castaways. The Angel's Command, I believe is the title.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because I don't remember hardly anything about this book. I remember too much about the third book. With this one, I'm just like, I remember liking it, but I don't remember anything about what happens.
Same
I think
here.
you will love it.
I'm sure. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. I'm approaching this one for the first time, so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's been long enough that I don't really remember anything about it. I think I remember like one thing, but that's it. So
I will say this for KP, the audiobook is very good. You will like it.
Yeah, I did listen to the audiobook at first, and I remember I have good memories about it. I just none of the memories have any. I'm like, I don't know, I liked it.
Okay. So, Jeremy, you want to do the where they can find us?
Sure. You can find us at www.kachunk.com. No. Somebody needs to register that right now for us, though, by the way.
One second, I'm looking it up.
Yep. Kachunk.info or something. So you can find us at Recorder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What?
Maybe
Nothing.
Don't.
Is
Maybe
it adult in nature? Let me ask.
No, I'm just memeing on you. It's available if we want kachunk.com.
Continue, Jeremy.
Okay, so you can find us at www.recorderonthewall.com. You can listen to us through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We are featured on the Redwall forums. We are featured on the Ulelia subreddit. We are on Twitter at ROTWpod. And we also have a Gmail account for you to email us, rotwpod@gmail.com. Listen to the podcast. Leave a review if you'd like to.
We're on the forums. Did you say that? I can't remember.
Yep. Mention us on the forums. Talk about us on the forums. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell everybody. Drive through a neighborhood with a bullhorn saying, "Listen to Recorder on the Wall."
Please don't.
Please do.
Just give us 5 stars. We deserve it.
Yeah.
One Well, yeah. Let me double. I haven't checked if there's been reviews in a while.
So yeah, no. And if you want to listen to something a little bit different, I'm going to plug our other show. Frustrated Fans also is the other show that Pete and I do on a, I can't even say regular, semi-regular. We do it every time we remember to do it, or every time we manage to finish watching or playing something. So we cover all sorts of different things, and I will say that one has more of a PG-13 thing going with it. So no little kiddies for that one.
And just 1 second.
Good job.
We're up to 15 ratings.
Nice.
So still all 5 stars.
Woo!
I don't know how the I know the Facebook Redwall groups apparently don't think we're the best, but yeah.
That's okay.
But they're
I
on
mean,
Facebook, so they don't matter.
I was gonna say
Oh.
Facebook is sort of toxic now, so I've been kind of staying off of it.
It's been that way for a very long time.
Yep.
Actually, you know what? I got a good verbal review. I was back when I was actually able to go into my office. I was talking to one of my coworkers and had mentioned that I did a podcast and told him about it. And he listened back to our first episode. And he said, even though he wasn't familiar with the series, he said we did a really good job of communicating the information and being informative and very entertaining.
Sweet. We're edutaining.
Yep.
All right. So, until next time, I'm Pete.
I'm
What
Kachunk.
order are we going?
Do you know what? I'll introduce people. I'm Pete. He's Matthias.
Ka-chunk.
He's Drew.
Ka-chunk.
She's KD.
Good junk.
And he's Jeremy.
Kachunk!
I hate all of you.
We could chunk you, though.